I'll just use my sword just for time's sake on here. Let's see here. All right, we're live again, everyone. Shalom, everyone. We're back. I'm gonna be finishing our prophets portion here with First Chronicles 24. Let me just get the screen up for everyone, for the viewers and listeners. Okay. All right. So there's not gonna be much commentary. I read this like earlier this week. There's not much to really expound on these chapters. So we'll be kind of breezing through this, unless there's something really important to bring up. Okay, so First Chronicles chapter 24. They number the sons of Aaron in their division: Nadab and Abihu, and Eleazar, Ithamar, and Nadab and Abihu died before their father, and they had no sons. So Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, ministered as priests. Okay, verse 3. And David distributed them, even Zadok of the sons of Eleazar, and Ahimelech of the sons of Ithamar, according to their numbering, according to their service, according to the houses of their fathers. And there were found among the sons of Eleazar more chiefs of the mighty ones than of the sons of Ithamar. And he divided them 16 heads of the families to the sons of Eleazar, 8 according to their families to the sons of Ithamar. And he divided them according to their lots, one with the other, for they were those who had charge of the set apart things, and those who had charge of the house of Yahuwah, among the sons of Eleazar and among the sons of Ithamar. And Semiah, the son of Nathaniel, the scribe and of the family of Levi, wrote them down before the king and the princes, and Zadok the priest and Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, were present, and the heads of the families of the priests, the Levites, each of a household, were assigned, one to Eleazar and one to Ithamar. And the first lot came out to Yorarim, the second to Yadiah, the third to Harib, the fourth to Saorim, the fifth to Melchias, the sixth to Me'amin, the seventh to Koz, the eighth to Abiah, the ninth to Yahusha, to the 10th to Shechanias, the 11th to Eliab, the 12th to Yakim, the 13th to Ufa, the 14th to Yazbaal, the 15th to Belga, the 16th to Emir, the 17th to Kazin, the 18th to Aphiz, the 19th to Phaetiah, the 20th to Ezekiel, the 21st to Akim, the 22nd to Gamul, the 23rd to Adelai, the 24th to Maasai. This is their numbered according to their service to go into the house of Yahuwah according to their appointment by the hand of Aaron their father, as Yahuwah Elohim of Yashar all commanded. And for the sons of Levi that were left, even for the sons of Abram, Sobael, for the sons of Sobael, Yediah, for Raabeah, the chief was Isaari, for Isaari, Salamoth, for the sons of Salamoth, Yath, the sons of Ediu, Amadiah, the second, Yaziel, the third, Yakmoam, the fourth, for the sons of Uziel, Mika, the sons of Mika, Samer, the brother of Mika, Isiah, the son of Isiah, Zechariah, the sons of Merari, Muli, and Mushi, the sons of Uzziah, that is the sons of Merari by Uzziah. His sons were Esoam and Sakur and Abai. To Muli were born Eleazar and Ithamar, and Eleazar died and had no sons. For Kish, the sons of Kish, Yeramiel, and the sons of Mushi, Muli, Eder, and Yerimuf. These were the sons of Levites, sons of the Levites according to the house of their families. And they also received lots as their brothers, the sons of Aaron, before the king. Zadok also. So This is like the one thing I wanted to make an expounding about. Zadok is a Levite, so I just wanted to show that he is part of Aaron's lineage. So kind of gets confusing when you get to Ezekiel and he's replacing, the direct sons of Zadok are replacing direct sons of Aaron. So that's where it gets confused. But they're actually of one family line. It's still the same family line. It's just that direct sons of Zadok are now the Levites when you get to the book of Ezekiel. Anyway. All right. So, and the chiefs of the families of the priests and the Levites, principal heads of the families, even as their younger brethren. Okay. Chapter 25. And the king David and the captains of the army appointed to their services the sons of Asaph and of Ammon and of Edithun, prophesiers with harps and lutes and cymbals, and their number was according to their polls, serving in their ministrations. The sons of Asaph, Sekur, Joseph, Nathanias, Arael. The sons of Asaph were next to the king. To Edithan were reckoned the sons of Edithan, Gedalias, and Suri, and Isaias, and Asabias, and Mattathias, 6 after their father Edithan, sounding loudly on the harp, thanksgiving and praise to Yahuwah. To Ammon were reckoned the sons of Ammon, Bukias, and Mathanias, and Uziel, and Subael, and Yarimoth, and Ananias, and Anan, and Heliatha, and Gedolathi, and Romathiezer, and Yeshbasaka, and Melithi, and Other, and Miazoth. All these were the sons of Ammon, the king's chief player in the praises of Alua, to lift up the horn. And Elohim gave to Ammon 14 sons and $3. Okay. All these saying hymns, or actually, it should say psalms or psalms. All these saying psalms with their father in the house of Elohim with cymbals and lutes and harps for the service of the house of Elohim near the king and Asaph and Edithan and Ammon. And the number of them after their brothers, those instructed to sing to Elohim, everyone that understood singing, was 288. And they also casted lots for the daily courses for the great and small of them, of the perfect ones and the learners. And the first lot of his sons and of his brothers came forth to Asaph the son of Joseph, or Joseph, namely Gedalias, and the second Heniah, his sons and his brothers being 12. The third Zakur, his sons and his brothers were 12. The fourth Yezri was his sons and his brothers were 12. The fifth Nathan, his sons and his brothers 12. The sixth Bukias, his sons and his brothers 12. The seventh Isariel, his sons and his brothers 12. The eighth Josiah, his sons and his brothers 12. The ninth Mathanias, his sons and his brothers 12. The 10th Samiah, his sons and his brothers 12. The 11th Azriel, his sons and his brothers 12. The 12th Sabiah, his sons and his brothers 12. The 13th Subael, his sons and his brothers 12. The 14th Mattathias, his sons and his brothers 12. The 15th Yeremoth, his sons and his brothers 12. The 16th Ananiah, his sons and his brothers 12. The 17th Yesbasaka, his sons and his brothers 12. The 18th Ananias and his sons and his brothers 12. The 19th Malithi, his sons and his brothers 12. The 20th Heliatha, his sons and his brothers 12. The 21st Othiri, his sons and his brothers 12. The 22nd Gadalathi, his sons and his brothers 12. The 23rd Mia Zoth, his sons and his brothers 12. The 24th Remathiezer, his sons and his brothers 12. Hey mom, can you take over chapter 26 for me real quick?
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
absolutely. Okay. All right, chapter 26. The divisions of the gatekeepers. From the Korahite, Meshelemiah, son of Kor, one of the sons of Asaph. Meshelemiah had sons, Zechariah the firstborn, Zediel the second, Zebediah the third, Yathaniel the fourth, Elam the fifth, Yehohanan the sixth, and Elihonai the seventh. Obed-Edom also had sons, Shemaiah the firstborn, Jehozabad the second, Joab the third, Sakar the fourth, Nathaniel the fifth, Amiel the sixth, Issachar the seventh, and Pulathai the eighth, for Yahuwah had blessed Obed-Edom. His son, Shemaiah, also had sons, who were leaders in their father's family, because they were very capable men. The sons of Shemaiah, Othni, Raphael, Obed, and Elzabad. His relatives, Elihu and Semachiah, were also able men. All these were descendants of Obed-Edom. They and their sons and their relatives were capable men with strength to do the work. Descendants of Obed-Edom, 62 in all. Meshelemiah had sons and relatives who were able men, 18 in all. Hosah the Merarite had sons, Shimei the first, although he was not the firstborn, his father had appointed him the first. Hilkiah the second, Tavaliah the third, and Zechariah the fourth. The sons and relatives of Hosah were 13 in all. These divisions of the gatekeepers, through their chief men, had duties for ministering in the temple of Yahuwah, just as their relatives had. Lots were cast for each gate, according to their families, young and old alike. The lot for the east gate fell to Shelemiah. These lots were cast for his son Zechariah, a wise counselor, and the lot for the north gate fell to him. The lot for the south gate fell to Obed-Edom, and the lot for the storehouse fell to his son. The lot for the west gate and the Shalaket gate on the upper road fell to Shupim and Hosah. Guard was alongside of guard. There were 6 Levites a day on the east, 4 a day on the north, 4 a day on the south, and 2 at a time at the storehouse. As for the court to the west, these were 4 at the road and 2 at the court itself. These were the divisions of the gatekeepers who were descendants of Korah and Merari. Their fellow Levites were in charge of the treasuries of the house of Yahuwah and the treasuries for the dedicated things. The descendants of Ladan, who were Gershonites through Ladan, and who were heads of families belonging to Ladan the Gershonite, were Jehieli. The sons of Yehieli, Zetham, and his brother Yoel, they were in charge of the treasuries of the temple of Yahuwah. From the Ammonites and Issacharites, the Hebronites, and the Uzzielites, Shubael, a descendant of Geshem, son of Moses, was the officer in charge of the treasury. His relatives through Eleazar, Rahabiah, his son, Jeshiah, his son, Joram, his son, Zikri, his son, and Shalomith, his son, Shelomith, and his relatives were in charge of all the treasuries for the things dedicated by King David. by the heads of families, who were the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, and by the other army commanders. Some of the plunder taken in battle they dedicated for the repair of the temple of Yahuwah, and everything dedicated by Samuel the seer, and by Saul son of Kish, Abner son of Ner, and Joab son of Zeruiah. And all of the other dedicated things were in the care of Shelomith and his relatives. From the Isharites, Kenaniah and his sons were assigned duties away from the temple as officials and judges over Yashbaal. From the Hebronites, Hashabiah and his relatives, 1,700 able men, were responsible in Yashbaal, west of the Jordan, for all the work of Yahuwah and for the king's service. As for the Hebronites, Uriah was their chief according to the genealogical records of their families. In the 14th year of David's reign, a search was made in the records, and capable men among the Hebronites were found at Yazor in Gilead. Uriah had 2,700 relatives, who were able men and heads of families, and King David put them in charge of the Reubenites and Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, for every matter pertaining to Yahuwah and for the affairs of the king.
Okay, so that's the end of 26 there. Okay, 27. The Sasharel, according to their number, heads of families, captains of thousands, and captains of hundreds, and scribes ministering to the king, and for every affair of the king according to their divisions, for every ordinance of the coming in, going out monthly for all the months of the year. One division of them was 24,000. Over the first division of the first month was Boaz, the son of Zabdiel. In his division were 24,000. Of the sons of Tarez, one was chief over the captains of the army for the first month, and over the division of the second month was Dodiah, the son of Ekok. And over his division was Makaloth, also chief, and in his division were 24,000 chief men of the army. The third for the third month was Banias, son of Yodai, the chief priest, and his addictions suffering.
How do you want me to jump in? Just let me know.
No, it's our connection, Mom.
Ridiculous.
We keep losing Wi-Fi. I don't know why. The fourth month was Asael, the brother of Joab, and Zabadias his son, and his brothers, and in his division were 20 and 4,000. Okay, verse 8. The fifth chief for the fifth month was Samaoth, the Yezraite, and in his division were 20 and 4,000. The sixth for the sixth month was Hoduias, the son of Ex the Tekoi, in his division were 4,000. The seventh for the seventh month was Chelez of Phalus of the children of Ephraim, and in his division were 20 and 4,000. The eighth for the eighth month was Sobokai the Usathite, belonging to Zerai, and in his division were 20 and 4,000. The ninth for the ninth month was Abiezer of Anathoth of the land of Benjamin, and his division were 20 and 4,000. The tenth for the tenth month was Me'era the Netophathite, belonging to Zerai, and in his division were 20 and 4,000. The 11th for the 11th month was Benias of Pharathon of the sons of Ephraim, and in his division were 20 and 4,000. The 12th for the 12th month was Chaldea the Netophathite belonging to Gathoniel in his division were 20 and 4,000. And over the tribes of Yasharal, the chief for Reuben was Eleazar, the son of Zechari, for Simon, or Simeon, Saphatias, the son of Maacah, for Levi, Asabias, the son of Camuel, for Aaron, Zadok, for Yehuda, Eliab of the brothers of David, for Issachar, Ambri, the son of Mikael, for Zabulon, Samias, the son of Abdiu, for Naphtali, Yerimoth, the son of Uziel, for Ephraim, Hosea, son of Uzziah, for the half tribe of Manasseh, Joel, the son of Fadaiah, or for the half tribe of Manasseh in the land of Gilead, Yadai, the son of Zadaeas, for the sons of Benjamin, Yasiel, the son of Abner, for Dan, Azariel, the son of Eruab. These are the chiefs of the tribes of Yasharal, but David took not their number from the 20 years old and under, because Yahuwah said that he would multiply Yasharal as the stars of the heaven. And Joab, the son of Suriah, began to number the people, and did not finish the work, for there was hereupon wrath on Yasharal, and the number was not recorded in the book of the Chronicles of King David. And over the king's treasuries was Asmoth, the son of Udiel, and over the treasuries in the country and in the towns and in the villages and the town towers was Jonathan, son of Uzziah. And over the husbandmen who tilled the ground was Esdri, the son of Chelub. And over the fields was Semei of Rael, and over the treasuries of wine in the fields was Zabdi, son of Stephani. And over the olive yards and over the sycamores in the plain country was Balan, the Gederite. And over the stores of oil was Uaz, and over the oxen pasturing in Saran was Satrai, the Saranite. And over the oxen in the valleys was Sufat, the son of Aldi. And over the camels was Abias, the Ishmaelite. Interesting. I want to make a little note about that, because that's showing that he's actually from Ishmael, and I'm going to do a study soon about exposing Jubilees for all the contradictions it has. This shows that descendants of Ishmael were being chose by Yahuwah to be grafted in. So I want to write that down. First Chronicles 27, verse 30. Over the sheep was Yaziz and Agarite, and all these were superintendents of the substance of King David. And Jonathan, David's uncle by the father's side, was a counselor of wise men. And Yetiel, the son of Akami, was the king's sons. Ahitophel was the king's counselor, and Kuzi, the chief friend of the king. And after this, Achitophel, Udai, the son of Benias, came next, and Abiathar and Joab was the king's commander in chief. Okay, so now we're at 28. All right. And David assembled all the chief men of the army at Jerusalem. And David stood in the midst of the assembly and said, "Hear me, my brothers, my people. It was in my heart to build a house of rest for the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, and a place for the feet of our Yahuwah. and I prepared materials suitable for the building. But Elua said, "You shall not build me a house to call my name upon it, for you are a man of war and have shed blood. Yet Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal chose me out of the whole house of my father to be king over Yasharal forever. And he chose Yehuda as the kingly house. And out of the house of Yehuda he chose the house of my father. And among the sons of my father he preferred me that I should be king over all Yasharal. And of all my sons, for Yahuwah has given me many sons, he has chosen Solomon, my son, to set him on the throne of the kingdom of Yahuwah over Yasharal. And Elohim or Elua said to me, Solomon, your son shall build my house and my court, for I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be to him a father. And I will establish his kingdom forever, if he continues to keep my commandments. This is what we call a conditional promise. Okay? If he continues to keep my commandments and my right rulings at this day. So this is why you see King Solomon being a type of Messiah initially. Yahuwah probably was, his initial plan was for King Solomon to be righteous all his days and for him to be a true foreshadowing of the true Messiah that later on in the New Testament times we see. So that was Yahuwah's probably, I'm just speculating here, his initial plan with King Solomon. And now I charge you before the whole assembly of Yahuwah and in the audience of our Elua, keep and seek all the commandments of Yahuwah our Elua, that you may inherit Tob land and leave it for your sons to inherit after you forever. Now, my son, Solomon, know the Elua of your fathers and serve him with a perfect heart and a willing spirit. For Yahuwah searches all hearts and knows every thought. And if you seek him, he will be found of you. But if you should forsake him, he will forsake you forever. Again, conditional. See now, for Yahuwah has chosen you to build him a house for the set apart place. Be strong and do it. And David gave Solomon his son the plan of the temple and its buildings and its furnitures and its upper chambers and the inner storerooms and the place of the atonement, and the plan which he had in his mind of the courts of the house of Yahuwah and all the chambers round about designated for the treasuries of the house of Elua and of the treasuries of the set apart things and of the chambers for resting, and the plan of the courses of the priests and the Levites for all the work of the service of the house of Yahuwah and of the stores of the vessels for ministration of the servants of the house of Yahuwah. And he gave him the account of their weight, both of gold and silver vessels. And he gave him the weight of the candlesticks, the menorah, and of the lamps. He gave him likewise the weight of the tables of showbread of each table of gold, and likewise of the tables of silver, also of the flesh hooks and vessels for drink offering, and golden bowls, and the weight of gold and silver articles, and censers and bowls according to the weight of each. And he showed him the weight of the utensils of the altar of incense, which was of pure gold, and the plan of the chariot of the cherubs. That's something interesting I might want to write down, that cherubs have chariots. Because I never seen that before.
Cherubim that covers the ark.
Yeah, well, it says the chariot of the cherubs in the Septuagint. So it's actually talking about like a chariot for an angel. So I've never seen that before. It's interesting. That spread out their wings and overshadowed the Ark of the Covenant of Yahuwah. David gave all to Solomon in Yahuwah's handwriting, according to the knowledge given to him of the work of the pattern. And David said to Solomon, his son, be strong and play the man. Oh, come on, Brenton, really? I gotta use a different translation than that. That
Courageous.
play the man. toe courage and do it. Fear not, neither be terrified, for Yahuwah my Alua is with you. He will not forsake you and will not fail you until you have finished all the work of the service of the house of Yahuwah. And behold, the pattern of the temple, even his house and his treasury and upper rooms, and the inner storerooms, and the place of propitiation or atonement, and the plan of the house of Yahuwah. And see, here are the courses of the Levites, the priests, for all the service of the house of Yahuwah, and there shall be with you men for every workmanship, everyone of ready skill in every art. Also, the chief men and all the people ready for all your commands. So basically, David is giving Solomon these commands because it seems like David's about to die, and this is what's happening. So he's getting his son ready.
Giving him a charge, is what they call it. He's charging him with this responsibility.
All right. Hey, Mom, you think you could finish us out?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay, chapter 29. Then King David said to the whole assembly, my son Solomon, the one whom Yahuwah has chosen, a young and inexperienced, the task is great, because this palatial structure is not for man, but for Yahuwah Elohim. With all my resources, I have provided for the temple of my Elohim, gold for the gold work, silver for the silver, bronze for the bronze, iron for the iron, and wood for the wood, as well as onyx for the settings, turquoise stones of various colors, and all kinds of fine stone and marble. All of these in large quantities. Besides, in my devotion to the temple of my Elohim, I now give my personal treasures of gold and silver for the temple of my Elohim, over and above everything I have provided for this set apart temple. 3,000 talents of gold, gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver for the overlaying of the walls of the buildings. For the gold work and the silver work, and for all the work to be done by the craftsman, now who is willing to consecrate himself today to Yahuwah. Then the leaders of families, the officers of the tribes of Yashrael, the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, and the officials in charge of the king's work gave willingly. They gave toward the work on the temple of Yahuwah 5,000 talents and 10,000 denaries of gold, 10,000 talents of silver, 8,000 talents of bronze, and 100,000 talents of iron. Any who had precious stones gave them to the treasury of the temple of Yahuwah, to the treasury of the temple of Yahuwah, in the custody of Jehiel and Gershon. The people rejoiced at the willing response of their leaders, for they had given freely and wholeheartedly to Yahuwah. David the king also rejoiced greatly. David's prayer. David praised Yahuwah in the presence of the whole assembly, saying, praise be to you, O Yahuwah, Elohim of our father Yashrael, from everlasting to everlasting. Yours, O Yahuwah, is the greatness and the power, and the esteem, and the majesty, and the splendor. For everything in heaven and earth is yours. Yours, O Yahuwah, is the kingdom. You are exalted as head over all. Wealth and honor come from you. You are the ruler of all things. In your hands are strength and power to exalt and give strength to all. Now, our Elohim, we give you thanks and praise your glorious name. But who am I, and who are my people, that we should be able to give as generously as this? Everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from your hand. We are aliens and strangers in your sight, as were all our forefathers. Our days on earth are like a shadow, without hope. O Yahuwah, our Elohim, as for all this abundance that we have provided for building you a temple for your set-apart name, it comes from your hand, and all of it belongs to you. I know, my Elohim, that you are the heart and are pleased, that you test the heart and are pleased with integrity. All these things have I given willingly and with honest intent. And now I have seen with joy how willingly your people who are here have given to you. O Yahuwah, Elohim of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, keep this desire in the hearts of your people forever, and keep their hearts loyal to you. And give my son Solomon the wholehearted devotion to keep your commands, requirements, and decrees, and to do everything to build the palatial structure for which I have provided. Then David said to the whole assembly, praise Yahuwah, your Elohim. So they all praised Yahuwah, the Elohim of their fathers. They bowed low and fell prostrate before Yahuwah and the king. The next day they made sacrifices to Yahuwah and presented burnt offerings to him, 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 male lambs, together with their drink offerings and other sacrifices in abundance for all Yashrael. They ate and drank with great joy in the presence of Yahuwah that day. Then they acknowledged Solomon, son of David, as king a second time, anointing him before Yahuwah to be ruler and Zadok to be priest. So Solomon sat on the throne of Yahuwah as king in place of his father David. He prospered, and all Yashrael obeyed him. All the officers and the mighty men, as well as all of King David's sons, pledged their submission to King Solomon. Yahuwah highly exalted Solomon in the sight of all Yashrael and bestowed on him royal splendor, such as no king over Yashrael ever had before. David, son of Jesse, was king over all Yashrael. He ruled over Yashrael 40 years, 7 in Hebron and 33 in Jerusalem. He died at a good old age, having enjoyed long life, wealth, and honor. His son Solomon succeeded him as king. As for the events of King David's reign, from beginning to end, they are written in the records of Samuel the seer, the records of Nathan the prophet, and the records of Gad the seer, together with the details of his reign and power and the circumstances that surrounded him and Yashrael and the kingdoms and all the other lands.
All right. Wow.
I knew it would get rough for me towards the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Solomon, you need a smack in the back of the head. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
He had Yahuwah calling him his son and saying, I will be his father. It doesn't get any better than that. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So this is like a parallel account where you. Hold on. What? Great. Our stupid audio is off for some stupid reason. All right. So
No,
I'm
your
sorry,
audio's
everyone.
on.
Okay, because it said off on my screen. Zoom's playing games today. They love playing games right now. Yeah, so that was a parallel account of pretty much what you'll get in, I think it's First or Second Kings.
Second Kings, I think.
Second Kings, where David's pretty much, he finishes the house and makes that prayer and all that. So a lot of good stuff there.
Solomon that his father had made preparations.
Yeah.
That he had plans to hand over.
Yeah, that reminds me of Yahuwah saying to Masha before he built the tabernacle.
Very good, Doug. Very good.
Where he says, make sure to make it according to the pattern I showed you at the mountain. And
very good.
And David said to Solomon the same thing. He's like, I've given you the pattern.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
So.
Boy, you see it repeating itself throughout.
Yeah, Yahuwah's not trying to confuse us, like I always say. He's not trying to confuse us. He's trying to make it simple for us.
Yeah.
We make it hard for ourselves, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, go ahead, brother Joshua, if you got anything to add, I'll let you go and finish us out with John.
Gotcha. So I've got a couple comments. So First Chronicle, what the heck is going on with my screen? Hold on, my thing is acting up, being really weird. There we go. So First Chronicles 24:28. Let me get back to it. So when you the sons of Aaron, we see are Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And then you see in First Chronicles 24. I actually didn't catch this at first. I was just looking at this one part. Is that First Chronicles 24:28? Okay, yeah, there we go. I ended up catching something more as we were reading, but Molly, the sons of Merari were Mali and Mushi, and Mali ended up naming his sons after the sons of Aaron, Eleazar and Ithamar. I thought that was pretty interesting, but also when you look in the Masoretic, one of the sons is missing from the account. The Masoretic reads, of Mali came Eleazar. It's missing Ithamar. First Chronicles 27, verse 30, or no, First Chronicles 28, verse 20, is missing a whole chunk in the Masoretic. And the Septuagint, it reads, and Daud, 28:20. And Daud said to Shlomo his son, be strong and of good courage, and do it, fear not, neither be terrified, for Yahuwah my Eluah is with you. He will not forsake you and will not fail you until you have finished all the work of the service of the house of Yahuwah. And behold the pattern, this is the part that's missing in the Masoretic. And behold the pattern of the temple, even his house and its treasury, and the upper chambers, and the inner storerooms, and the place of propitiation, and the plan of the house of Yahuwah. And then in 27, 23, 24, I've read this account. I don't think I've ever read this part in here in First Chronicles. I've read this same account in I think it's in Samuel. I forget where. And I never could really understand why Yahuwah was mad at David for numbering the people. I didn't see the significance or why. But when you read it and hear, but Daud took not their number from 20 years old under, because Yahuwah said that he would multiply Yasharal as the stars of the Shamayim. And Joab the son of Zeruiah began to number the people, but did not finish the work, for wrath came upon Yasharal. and the number was not recorded in the book of the Chronicles of King Daud. To me, at least, it seems like he was numbering them to uh, see where, I guess, because he didn't. It seemed to have something to do with that prophecy of multiplying Yasharal as the stars of the Shamaim. So it almost seems like a lack of faith, like a lack of belief of Yahuwah, that he would do that. And so he was actually, to me, it seems like he was counting them to see if they were actually becoming as the being multiplied as the stars of the Shamaim. Not sure if that's actually what it was, but that's what it seems like to me. That's all I had for the comments. So I guess John 1:1, or John chapter 1. I'll be reading from the Etheridge. I'm going to go ahead and just skip the notes until we can have some more time to look into the Sephardic version. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word himself was with Yahuwah, and the Word himself was with Alua, and Alua was the Word himself. This was in the beginning with Alua. Everything by his hand was made, and without him also was not one thing made that was made. In him was life, and the life is the light of the sons of man. And the light himself in the darkness shines, and the darkness did not overtake it. There was a man who was sent from Yahuwah. His name was Yehukanan. He came for the testimony, to testify concerning the light, that all men might believe through his ministry. He was not the light himself, but came to testify concerning the light. For that was the true light that enlightens every man who comes into the world. In the world he was, and the world by his hand had been made, and the world knew him not. He came to his own, and his own received him not. But they who received him, he gave them power that the sons of Yahuwah they should become, to those who believe in his name. These not from blood, nor from the will of the flesh, nor from the will of man, but from Yahuwah are born. And the Word was made flesh and tabernacled with us, and we saw his esteem, the esteem as of the one begotten who was from the Father, full of favor and truth. Yehukanan testified concerning him and cried and said, "This is he of whom I said that he comes after me and was before me, because he is," what does that word mean? Anterior. Because he is anterior to me. I'm not sure what that word means, but and from his fullness we have all received, and favor for favor. For the law by the hand of Moshe was given, but the truth and the favor were by Yahushua Mashiach. Yahuwah no man hath ever seen, the one begotten Aluah, he who is in the bosom of his Father, he hath declared him. And this was the testimony of Yehukanan, when the Yahudi sent to him from Jerusalem priests and Levites to demand of him, "Who are you?" And he confessed, and denied not, but confessed, "I am not the Mashiach." And they asked him again, "What then? Are you Eliah or Eliyahu?" And he said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he said, "No." And they said to him, "Then who are you? That we may give an answer to those who sent us. What do you say of yourself?" He said, "I am the voice which cries in the wilderness, make plain the way of Yahuwah, as said Isaiah the prophet." But they who were sent were from the Pharisees. And they demanded and said to him, "Why then baptize you if you are not the Mashiach, nor Eliyahu, nor the prophet. Yehukanan answered and said to them, I baptize you with waters, but he stands among you whom you know not. He it is who comes after me, and he was before me. He the latchets of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose. These things were done in Bethaniah at the passage of the Jordan, where Yehukanan was baptizing. And the day after, Yehukanan seized Yahusha, who was coming to him, and he said, Behold, the Lamb of Yahuwah, who bears the sin of the world. This is he, concerning whom I said, After me comes a man, and he was before me, because he is anterior to me. And I knew him not, but that he should be made known unto Yashral. Therefore have I come with waters to baptize. And Yehukanan testified and said, I saw the Ruach descending from Shamayim as a dove, and it remained upon him, and I knew him not. But he who sent me to baptize with water, he said to me, He upon whom you see the Ruach descend and remain, this baptizes with the Ruach set apartness. And I saw and bore witness that this is the Son of Yahuwah. And the day after Yehukanan stood, and two of his disciples, and contemplating Yahusha as he walked, he said, Behold, the Lamb of Yahuwah. And his two disciples heard him as he spoke, and they went after Yahusha. And Yahusha turned and saw them coming after him, and said to them, Who do you seek? They said to him, Rabbi, where do you dwell? He said to them, Come and see. And they went and saw where he dwelt. And they were with him that day, and it was about the 10th hour. Now one of those who heard Yehukanan and went after Yahusha was Andrew, the brother of Simon. This saw first Simon his brother, and said to him, We have found the Mashiach. And he brought him to Yahusha. And Yahusha saw him and said, You art Simon Bar-Jonah. You shall be called Kepha. And the day following, Yahusha willed to go forth into Galilee. And he found Philip and said to him, Come after me. Now Philip was from Bethsaida, and the city of Andrew and of Simon. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, He of whom Moshe and the law and the prophets did write, we have found. And that Yahusha, he, the son of Joseph, who is from Nazareth. Say to him, Nathanael from Nazareth he said that that's really worded weird. Saith to him, Nathanael from Nazareth, can any good thing be? Philip said to him, Come and see. And Yahusha saw Nathanael as he was coming to him, and said of him, Behold, truly a son of Yashral, who hath no guile in him. Nathanael said to him, Whence knowest thou me? Yahusha said to him, While yet Philip had not called you, while you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael answered and said to him, Rabbi, you are the son of Yahuwah himself. You are the very king of Yashral. Yahusha said to him, Upon my telling you that I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? Greater things than these you shall see. He said to him, So be it, so be it. I say to you, hereafter you shall see the Shamayim opened, and the messengers of Yahuwah ascending and descending unto the Son of Man. And on the chapter 2, I just have to say really quick, the Etheridge is worded really weird. At times it seems like it's wording it in modern English, and then other times it does like a King James Old English type style. It's weird. And on the third day there was a feast in Katna, a city of Galilee, and the mother of Yahusha was there. And Yahusha and his disciples were called to the feast. And the wine failed, and his mother said to Yahusha, They have no wine. Yahusha said to her, What is it to me and to you, woman? Not yet hath come my hour. His mother said to the servitors, Whatever he tells you, do. Now there were 6 water pots of stone set there, unto the purification of the Yahudim, which contained each 2 quarantals or 3. Yahusha said to them, Fill these water pots with waters. And they filled them to the top. He said to them, Draw near and carry to the chief of the guests. And they carried. And when that chief of the guests had tasted those waters which were made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servitors knew, who had filled them with waters. The chief of the guests called the bridegroom and said to him, "Every man at first the good wine produces, and when they are satisfied, then that which is inferior. But you have kept the good wine until now." This is the first sign that Yahusha wrought in Cana of Galilee, had manifested his esteem, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they were there a few days. And the Pesach of the Yahudim was near, and Yahusha went up to Jerusalem, and he found in the temple those who sold oxen and sheep and doves and the money changers sitting. And he made him a scourge of cord and drove them all from the temple, and the sheep and the oxen and the money changers, and he shed their money and their tables he overturned. And to those who sold doves he said, "Take these hence, make not the house of my Father a house of merchandise." And his disciples remembered that it was written, "The zeal of your house has devoured me." The Yahudim answered and said to him, "What sign do you show to us as these things you do?" Yahusha answered, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it." The Yahudim said to him, 40 and 6 years was this temple being built, and will you in 3 days raise it? But he spoke of the temple of his body. But when he was risen from the house of the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said, and they believed the scriptures and the word which Yahusha had spoken. While Yahusha was in Jerusalem at the Pesach, at the feast, many believed in him who saw the signs which he wrought. But Yahusha did not confide himself to them, because he knew every man, and needed not that any should testify to him concerning any man, because he knew what is in man. Chapter 3. But there was one of the Pharisees whose name was Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yahudim. This came to Yahusha in the night and said to him, "Rabbi, we know that from Yahuwah you are sent, a teacher, for no man can these signs perform which you do, unless Yahuwah be with him." Yahusha answered and said to him, so be it, I say to you, except a man be born anew, he cannot see the kingdom of Yahuwah. Nicodemus said to him, "How can an old man be born? Who can again the womb of his mother the second time enter and be born?" Yahusha answered and said to him, so be it, I say to you, that if a man be not born of waters and the Ruach, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Yahuwah. Whatever is born of the flesh is flesh, and whatever is born of the Ruach is Ruach. Wonder not that I have said to you that it behooves you to be born anew. The wind blows where it wills, and his voice you hear, but you know not whence it comes, nor whither it goes. So is every man who is born of the Ruach. Nicodemus answered and said to him, "How can these things be?" Yahusha answered and said to him, "Are you Malphona of Yasharal, and these know not? So be it, I say to you, what we know we speak, and what we have seen we testify, but our testimony you receive not. If of what is on earth I tell you, and you believe not, how if I tell you of what is in Shamayim, could you believe me? And no man hath descended into Shamayim, but he who descended from Shamayim, the Son of Man, he who is in Shamayim. And as Moshe elevated the serpent in the wilderness, so is to be elevated the Son of Man. Give me a second. Verse 13. And as Moshe elevated the serpent in the wilderness, so is to be elevated the Son of Man, that every man who believes in him might not perish, but have the life which is eternal. For so loved Yahuwah the world as his Son, the only begotten he would give, that every one who believes in him might not perish, but have the life which is eternal. For Yahuwah sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world might live by him. He who believes on him is not judged, and he who believed not is judged already, because he believeth not in the name of the only begotten Son of Yahuwah. And this is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and the sons of men have loved darkness rather than the light, for their deeds have been evil. For everyone who does abominable things hates the light, and comes not to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he who does the truth comes to the light, that his works may be known that in Yahuwah they are wrought. After these came Yahusha and his disciples into the land of the Yahudim, and there conversed with them and baptized. But Yehukanan also was baptizing in Enyon near Shiloh, because the waters were there many, and they came and were baptized, for not yet was Yehukanan cast into the house of the bound. But there was a question with some of the disciples of Yehukanan and a certain Yahudi upon a purification. And they came to Yehukanan and said to him, Rabban, he who was with you at the passage of Jordan, and concerning whom you did give witness, he also baptizes. And many come to him. Yehukanan answered and said to them, a man cannot receive of his own will anything, unless it be given to him from Shamayim. You bear me witness that I said, I am not the Mashiach, but I am an apostle before him. He that hath the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom, who stands and attends to him, with great joy receives an account of the voice of the bridegroom. This my joy therefore, behold, is complete. To him it must be to increase, and to me to decrease. For he who from above hath come is above all, and he who is from the earth is of the earth, and of the earth speaks. He who from Shamayim hath come is above all, and what he has seen and heard he testifies, and his testimony no man receives. But he who hath received his testimony hath sealed with the true Yahuwah he is. For he whom Yahuwah hath sent, the very words of Yahuwah speaks. For it was not in measure that Yahuwah gave the Ruach. Yahuwah loves the Son, and everything hath he given into his hands. He who believes in the Son has the life which is eternal, and he who obeys not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Yahuwah remains on him. Chapter 4. But when Yahusha knew that the Pharisee had heard that he had made many disciples and baptized more than Yehukanan, though it was not Yahusha himself baptized, but his disciples, he left Yehuda and came again into Galilee. And he needed that in going he should pass through among the Shamrai, or Samaritans. And he came to a city of the Shamrai, which is called Shokar, near to the field which Jacob gave unto Joseph his son. And the fountain of water of Jacob was there. But Yahusha was wearied with the labor of the way, and sat by the fountain. And it was 6 hours. There came a woman from Shamrin to draw waters. And Yahusha said to her, give me waters to drink. Now his disciples had gone into the city to buy for them meat. The woman, the Shamrotha, or Shamroitha, said to him, how can you, who are the Yahudim, ask drink of me, who am a woman, a Shamrotha? For the Yahudi have no accommodation with the Shamroi, or Shamroi, whatever. Yahusha answered and said to her, if you had known the gift of Yahuwah and who he is who has said to you, give me to drink, you would have asked of him, and he had given you living waters. That woman said to him, my master, you have no vessel, and the well is deep. When have you these living waters? Are you greater than our father Jacob, he who gave us this well, and himself drank of it, and his children and his flocks? Yahusha answered and said to her, every one who shall drink of these waters again will thirst. But every one who shall drink of the waters that I will give him shall never thirst. But those waters that I shall give him shall be in him a fountain of waters. It shall spring forth to the life of eternity. That woman said to him, my master, give me of those waters that I thirst not again, nor come to draw from here. Yahusha said to her, go, call your husband and come here. She said to him, I have no husband. Yahusha said to her, You have well said, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and this whom you now have is not your husband. This you have said truly. The woman said to him, My master, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers in this mountain worship, and you say that in Jerusalem is the place where it behooves to worship. Yahusha said to her, Woman, believe me that the hour comes when neither in this mountain nor at Jerusalem you shall worship the Father. You worship something you know not, but we worship whom we know, for salvation is from the Yahudim. But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in Ruach and in truth, for the Father also requires worshippers such as these. For Yahuwah is for Yahuwah is Ruach, and they who worship him in Ruach and in truth must worship. The woman said to him, I know that the Mashiach comes, and when he hath come, he will teach us all things. Yahusha said to her, I am he, I who speak with you. And as he spoke, his disciples came, and they wondered that with this woman he spoke. But no man said, What inquirest you, or why do you speak with her? The woman left her water pot and went into the city and said, Come, see a man who hath told me everything that I have done. Is not this the Mashiach? And the men went out of the city and came with her. Between these things his disciples entreated of him, saying to him, Rabban, eat. But he said to them, I have food to eat of which you know not. The disciples said among themselves, Has any man brought him somewhat to eat? Yahusha said to them, My meat is to do the will of him who sent me, and to accomplish his work. Say you not that after 4 moons comes harvest? Behold, I tell you, lift up your eyes and see the lands which have become white to the harvest already. And he who reaps receives wages and gathers fruit unto life eternal, and the sower and the reaper shall rejoice together. For in this is the proverb true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap that for which you did not toil, for others toiled, and you have entered upon their labor. Now of that city many Shamrai believed in him, because of the saying of that woman who testified, He told me everything that I have done. And when those Shamrai came to him, they besought him to be with them, and he was with them 2 days. And many believed through his word. And they said to the woman, Now not through the word believe we in him, for we have heard and know that this is truly the Mashiach, the Savior of the world. And after 2 days, Yahusha went forth from thence and came. Give me a second. Savior of the world. And after 2 days, Yahusha went forth from thence and came into Galilee, for he himself testified that a prophet in his own city is not honored. But when he came to Galilee, the Galileans received him, because they had seen all the signs which he had done in Jerusalem at the feast, for they also went to the feast. So Yahusha came again into Cana of Galilee, where he had made the waters wine. And there was at Capernaum the servant of a certain king, whose son was ill. This man heard that Yahusha had come from Yehuda into Galilee, and he came to him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was near to die. Yahusha said to him, If signs and wonders you do not see, you will not believe. The servant of the king said to him, My master, come down ere my child die. Yahusha said to him, Go, your son lives. And the man believed in the word which Yahusha had spoken to him and went. But as he was going down, his servants met him and gave him good news, saying to him, Your son lives. And he asked at what time he was healed. They said to him, Yesterday at 7 hours the fever left him. And his father knew that in the hour it was in which Yahusha said to him, Your son lives. And he believed in all his house. This is again the second sign which Yahusha did when he had come from Yehuda into Galilee. So that's it. I got 2 quick comments. 3 verse 13. Okay. 3 verse 13, it says, and no man hath ascended into Shamaim, but he who descended from Shamaim, the Son of Man, he who is in Shamaim. I think that there is a verse in Proverbs. Give me a second. What is his name? Yeah, Proverbs 30 verse 4 says, who hath ascended up into Shamaim, or descended? Who hath gathered the wind in his fist? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if you can tell? 4 verse 42. Okay. And they said to the woman, now not through your word believe we in him, for we have heard and known that this is truly the Mashiach, the Savior of the world. I just find it interesting that you have these Samaritans that understand that the Messiah is to be the Savior of the world, not just of Yasharal, or not just of the Samaritans. I think, if I'm correct, that the Samaritans were like a mixed breed of Yahudim or of Yasharal, mixed with the people that they were in captivity with. So I just kind of find it interesting that they understood that, when you have Yasharal at that time not even quite understanding that, even to this day, believing that salvation is for the Jews, not for the Gentiles.
Yeah.
That's all.
Some of them snuck back into the land. And when you understand the historical context of who the Samaritans are, it makes sense why the Yahudim did not like them. They were actually Ephraimites, Gadites. They would have been, actually, because Samaria is a capital of a certain part of Israel. When you track Samaria back to the Old Testament, it's actually the capital of the northern kingdom. So somehow some of the Assyrian captivity came back, somehow, some way. Some of them, according to the Judean historian Josephus and many others, they claim that the Samaritans would have been certain tribes from the 10 tribes that went into captivity. So, and that's why there was stupid laws in the Pharisees where they would talk about, you can't talk to a Samaritan. The heck are you doing? You can't talk to a Samaritan. You can't, and we see this attitude of the Pharisees and the Sadducees constantly. They were talking about, you know, where is he going, to the dispersion among the Greeks? Like, they did not want the prodigal son to come home, and they're even mad that some of the prodigal sons back into the land. So they have this enmity. And I think it kind of fills in the gaps of what Paul's talking about historically, where he talks about Messiah made 2-1, right? The one new man. And in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense that the Samaritans were Northern House Israelites that were never fully converted back to being Israelites. Like, what Yahushua is actually saying there, he's not saying that salvation is not for the Samaritans. What he's saying is, you worship what you don't know. If you know anything historically about the Samaritans, they were basically pagan and wanted to be Israelites at the same time. So what Yahushua is saying is, you really don't know what you worship. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You don't know what you're doing. We know what we're doing, because as a whole, the Judeans, or even not just the Judeans, but there were some Benjamites that came back, part of the Daniel captivity. Some Levites were considered part of the southern house.
Yeah.
All those that came back, their problem was they turned back to the Father, but not wholeheartedly, the southern house. But at first they did turn back to the Father. After the Babylonian captivity. Now the Ephraimites, according to this legend, the Samaritans, who would be Ephraimites, Gadites, Naphtalites, a little remnant that came back of the northern house, they wanted to be children of Yahuwah and still be pagans at the same time. They wanted it both ways. You could say the Samaritans spiritually are like very similar to mainstream Christianity today. It's very, very similar. They they pretty much they wanted their idols, but yet serve Yahuwah at the same time. So when you understand historically what their beliefs were, it kind of makes sense why Yahusha said what he said to the woman at the well. He's kind of like, you really don't know who you worship. You really don't know the Father. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense why I think that, to add to Brother Joshua's point, the Judeans today, or more correctly, these people that claim they're Judeans today, pretty much misinterpret that concept of salvation is of the Yahudim or of the Judeans, and they get this false concept, which Yahusha was not saying that. I want to reiterate, he was not saying that it's only for the Judeans. His point, he was trying to put a point across, was that salvation is for them because they know who they worship. And the Samaritans, they really weren't trying to serve the Father with their whole heart. They really weren't. They were trying to keep the ways of the world and serve the Father at the same time. And if you look back in the history of the Northern House, they were big for that. They were big with their idolatry, a lot worse than Judah was. They were the prodigal son. That's what the prodigal son story is about, really. I know a lot of us, we kind of try to spiritualize the prodigal son story and try to use it in our individual walks, but historically, Yahusha, when he's telling that prodigal son story, the Israelites know who the prodigal son is and who the good son is. Like they understand that in their culture. Like he's representing the two houses, and he's talking about how the northern house went out there, wanting to be part of the world, wanting to be like the world, and then and the moral of that story is for Yahusha get the point across that these guys are still your brothers. Don't have enmity against them. And to me, that's what I get from the prodigal son story. Now, understanding the historical context of that story and that parable, what it actually means to us now. It's actually showing that there was a huge enmity between the two houses, huge enmity.
Yeah, they're Hatfields and McCoys.
And the way the southern house felt like, they felt like it's like this ungrateful brother of mine that
abandoned me,
that abandoned dad. Our Elohim dad, our heavenly Father, just did whatever he wanted. And now he wants to come back. It's that type of attitude. So, which we all have been there. We've all been there, where we feel like our brother or our sister in our individual families, there's always that one sibling that's like never really grateful what mom and dad did for them. Always using, always, only comes around when they need money.
Or was never there to help mom and dad when they really needed help.
So that's what I believe the whole purpose of why Paul says Yahusha broke the barrier, the wall partition between the two. I believe the reason Paul is saying that is because Yahusha, with his death and resurrection, he now makes the two sticks one. the prophecy of
Mhm.
Ezekiel, that Ephraim and Judah would finally become one. And I think that's partially fulfilled, in my opinion, when you look at the stake and Yahusha dying on the stake and resurrecting. That was to make the two one. And so there's a lot of symbolicness to that. But according to historians, the reason I brought this up is according to historians, the Samaritans were not from the sort of southern kingdom. They were actually from the northern kingdom, according to historians, according to what they believed. That actually makes sense why Yahusha talks about the Good Samaritan and all that. If you really think about that, the Good Samaritan story possibly would have been the fact that the Pharisees hated their northern house brothers, and they would never take care of they wouldn't even take care of their own. But yet a Samaritan, someone who's out of covenant with the father, who's divorced, would treat their Judeans brothers, because Levites are part of that southern house.
Yeah.
So if you think about the story, it's like someone that's out of covenant of the father that is treating one of their southern house brothers better than them. And it's Yahusha's trying to get to the heart of the matter with the Pharisees. He's like, what the heck is wrong with you guys? The Levites are supposed to be part of your house. You would pass them by, not wanting to take care of them, but yet your northern house brothers who are not even in covenant, they're still divorced from the father, would take care of them and do the right thing. And that was kind of Yahusha trying to get to the heart of the matter with them. And so a lot of people like misunderstand the Samaritan. In my opinion, they misunderstand, because I know in Christianity we're taught that the Samaritans are Gentiles, if I'm not mistaken. That's the Christian interpretation.
You could be right. I'm not honestly sure.
Because I've heard the Samaritan that we know about would actually believe them to be from Ephraim. It makes a lot more sense why Yahusha's given that story. He's trying to get through to the Pharisees and Sadducees, like, why are you having so much hatred for your brothers? What is wrong with you? Like, what, And so, so I don't know. I just find that interesting. If that's true, it makes a lot more things in the New Testament make sense. A lot more. That whole, because I think even the tax collectors, right, Mom, weren't they? Some of the tax collectors were ethnic Israelites, and they made up rabbinical rules not to talk to a tax collector, not to not to eat with one. There was like rabbinical Talmudic oral tradition that the Pharisees were holding to. Even in general, even of Gentiles, Peter fell under the pressure of holding to Talmudic tradition, where he would not eat with a Gentile. That's nowhere in the Torah, but it's in the oral law of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the tradition of their elders. So I don't know. I just find that interesting. I find that interesting if it's true that the Samaritans were Northern House Kingdom Israelites that snuck back in. They became like the Gentiles when they were dispersed. So that's why they would have like a lot of pagan ways and not wanting to give up their idolatry and still try to serve Yahuwah, but wanting to hold on to the ways of the pagans. So, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, so that's the claim anyway by certain historians. But yeah. Well, I think that's all we have time for today, unless Brother Joshua wanted to bring anything else up. I think we're gonna close our study for today. And yeah. Yep, that's about it. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a great, to all of our brothers and sisters that it's Yom Teruah for them right now. I just want to say have a very Baruch, solemnful, um, self-respective Yom of Teruah. Not Teruah, my bad. Yom Kippur. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Teruah. Have a very self-reflective, um, solemnful Yom Kippur and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.